We're explaining the deep meaning of Solaris in this video. Is that what we do?
Not so much the meaning really, that could get really complicated.
My concern is if we don't hypothesize and do something with it, it's just going to be like info dump, like a Wikipedia video. The book,
Yep.
the 72 film,
Yeah.
and the superior Clooney film. Right then, are we ready?
We're rolling.
Rolling?
Rolling.
How do I look?
You're a star, Moid. And action.
As any science fiction fan will affirm, First Contact is one of the cornerstones of the genre. The idea of humans discovering, meeting, or communicating with alien life has driven the plot of an uncountable number of stories for hundreds of years. But as we will discover in this video, not all First Contact stories are created equal. Furthermore, and more than any other science fiction book that I can think of, interpretation and personal reflection can lead us away from the original creation. Solaris, written by Stanislaw Lem, originally published in 1961 in Polish, then translated into French in 1964, and then translated into English from that French version in 1970. Over the decades, there have been many adaptations of the book. TV plays, theatre productions, opera, audio plays, more translations, but most famously, of course, the feature films of Andrei Tarkovsky in 1972 and Steven Soderbergh in 2002. But Lem was less than impressed with any reshaping of his original novel. Not due to the act of adaptation itself, but rather the emphasis on human emotions and the metaphors supported by critics and reviewers. Lem's vision was to create an encounter with an alien that simply cannot be understood by humans, and not, as he retorted, love in outer space. In an ironic, elegant act of life imitating art, the public never truly understood what he was trying to communicate, but we fell madly in love with Solaris regardless.
The dialogue is intended to reflect the rhythm of the book itself, drawing a parallel between the author and the reader. Increasing the frequency of the B-roll creates an atmosphere of dread and uncertainty. The juxtaposition of this B-roll, the studio footage, and the upcoming homage to the Scandinavian noir aesthetic keep the audience engaged. As the video becomes more unhinged and unpredictable, the general themes of Solaris are mirrored, encouraging debate over clarity. The components of the standard book or film review are not what they are supposed to be, which leads me to the conclusion that this video is dysfunctional.
Earth to Moid. Just read the script.
Did we already record the B-roll for this? Like in the water or something?
Just listen, just read the script. Right, ready? Lights, camera, action.
In essence, Solaris is about a faraway planet covered in a swirling ocean. The working theory is that the entire thing is a single sentient alien entity, Solaris. For decades, a research station has orbited the planet, studying, probing, trying to communicate, with no success. Something's not quite right. The scientists on the station are reporting hallucinations. Are they going mad? Is there a connection? Chris Kelvin, a psychologist, is sent to Solaris to figure out what's happening. Is this alien communication? Or is this a collective human breakdown? And then death, rebirth, a cycle of loss and pain. Sorry, I can't do this.
Moid, wait, what are you doing? What do we do now?
Is the mic working okay? Hello? Check. Okay, I guess so. Flipping it. Right. Okay. Right. I'll just give it a go. Chris Kelvin, a psychologist, is sent to Solaris to figure out what's happening. When he arrives, he finds that one member of the crew has committed suicide and the other two are mentally unstable. He also catches a glimpse of a child running around the station. Exhausted, confused, and quite possibly going mad, he retires to his quarters. The book and both versions of the film slightly differ in their details, but the prevailing plot is that it's revealed that
Kelvin's wife died about 10 years earlier. We'll call her Rhea from now on, the name she is given in the English translation and the Soderbergh version. Kelvin wakes after a dream-filled sleep. Or is that a nightmare of a long-dead wife? To find Rhea alive and well in bed next to him. After a brief, uncomfortable conversation with her, Kelvin lures Rhea into an escape pod and fires her off into outer space. It transpires that these simulacra, the running children, Kelvin's dead wife, there are probably others, began appearing after the scientists conducted experiments on Solaris, basically shooting the ocean with X-rays. Somehow, the alien is reading the minds of the crew and presenting these apparitions of lost loved ones, an interpretation of dark memories made real. We came here as we truly are, and when the other side shows us that truth, the part of it we pass over in silence, we're unable to come to terms with it. The next night, Rhea again appears in Kelvin's quarters, apparently a different version, or at least this visitor has no memory of Kelvin dispatching the last Rhea. Kelvin lets her stay. What follows is one of the most mesmerising meditations on communication, self-awareness, identity, grief, loss, and love. We are shown in explicit detail the tragic romance that led to Rhea's suicide, recontextualising Kelvin's emotional attachment to the Solaris visitor. Rhea herself, formed from the projection of Kelvin's memory, has her own thoughts and experiences. There is a level of sentience. So right here in the heart of the story, every perspective is warped, encumbered by raw emotion and a reflection of a coping mechanism. And the true purpose of the plot and the mission, which is communication with an alien entity, literally shares a bed with psychoanalytic therapy. I had no hope, yet expectations lived on in me, the last thing she had left behind. What further consummations, mockeries, torments did I still anticipate? I had no idea, as I abided in the unshaken belief that the time of cruel wonders was not yet over. To complicate matters, the second incarnation of Rhea seems to have more of the darker, emotional fragments. We're assuming she's made from the memories of Kelvin that have now been pulled to the surface after meeting the first Rhea. She discovers what she actually is, a facsimile of a memory, a life force that has chosen to end everything. So she too tries to commit suicide. The novel and both films lean into the realm of facing consequences and second chances, a unique opportunity to engage with fate. Does Kelvin deny his painful past so he can live more comfortably in the present? None of the versions of the Solaris tale ever really resolve this predicament. The great success of this story is the perfect balance of ambiguity and incomprehension. We are left with the question of first contact. Does Solaris simply give us our heart's desire, what it believes we want or need, as a gesture of love, a positive experience. Judging by the fallout of the crew, is this a hostile act? Does Solaris know that we are not equipped to come face to face with the painful past? Or, as Lem intended, the meaning of this seemingly rational activity of the Solarian ocean is beyond the reach of human beings. This is how the dream begins. All around me, something is awaiting my consent, my inner acquiescence, and I know, or rather the knowledge exists, that I must not give way to an unknown temptation. For the more the silence seems to promise, the more terrible the outcome will be. Yet I essentially know no such thing, because I would be afraid if I knew, and I never felt the slightest fear. And then, death, rebirth, a cycle of loss and pain.